If you are not caught up with the current storyline or are sensitive to any amount of spoilers, no matter how small, you may want to go audio only, as opposed to watching like a normal video. With that warning out of the way, let's get started. If you've been following 14 recently, you know it's been popping the fuck off. And if you're new to the game, wondering if 14 is worth getting into, let me tell you something. It's been popping the fuck off. And for good reason. 14 is not just a good game, it's a great game. No, it's not just a great game, it's a freaking amazing game. A massive MMORPG that's got it all. Story, combat, crafting, gathering, housing, community. Want it, they got it. Everyone dripping like water. So yeah, as I said, massive. But you already knew that, didn't you? Endwalker is the latest entry to this long-running saga and the closing chapter of the current story arc. And let me just say, so much hype and excitement has been building in the lead up to this release, it feels like the community is ready to burst with unrestrained fanaticism and prove we're just as tempered as the outer world thinks we are. But as we all know from recent history, big expectations and big disappointment often walk hand in hand. So, here's the billion gale question you're probably asking yourself. Did they stick the landing or pull a game of shh, we don't talk about that show anymore? Right. Essentially, has this game hit a new high? Did it get the finale that it deserved? Or did it miss the mark? Get your tissue boxes ready and have your copium tanks on standby. It's time to save our star in Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. Alright class, listen up. I know you've got a lot of questions, so let's get the most important ones out of the way. No new deep dungeon, no glamour dresser increase, same amount of glamour plates, and no, Viera hats and hairstyles are not fixed. Yet. There you have it, trash tier game, and no amount of bunny boys or pandering will make up for what can only be seen as a massive betrayal. Ha! I kid. Over the past 8 years, the 14 team has worked tirelessly to craft and deliver an experience that speaks to us, their players, all around the world. A story and message of forgiveness, of redemption, of honor and sacrifice, growth and learning, and of perseverance and hope. So, did they do it? Did they get it right? Did they stick the landing? Fuck yeah, they did. So, I've been looking around and seeing everyone simp out over the story like it's the best thing since summer vacation. I'm gonna push back and throw myself to the wolves by saying that, as an individual expansion, the story's not as strong as Heavensward or Shadowbringers. There, I said it and I won't take it back. The structure and pacing's not as tight, the antagonists aren't as deep or satisfying, and many of the character moments and payoffs didn't hit as hard. For me. However, as the finale, as the capstone looking at the entirety of the 14 story, no one can deny this, as a whole, is a masterclass in storytelling. The best Final Fantasy story ever. Perhaps for some, even the best RPG story ever. Endwalker makes all the expansions that came before it even better, elevating them to greater heights by giving new depth, meaning, and perspective to everything we've experienced throughout our journey. It's a true love letter and celebration of all the adventures we've had, all the characters we've met, and every emotion we felt along the way as we grew from humble adventurer to nigh unstoppable godslayer, reminding us that everything we did and every obstacle we faced and overcame was a worthwhile and meaningful part of the Warrior of Light's story, of our story. Coming off that final stretch and looking back over the path you walked and what it took to get there will leave you emotionally and mentally drained. In a good way, a cathartic way, as you say goodbye to the family you've grown to love and watch the story that you've connected with and been emotionally invested in for so long finally come to a close. This is, without a doubt, one for the ages. This expansion has some incredibly powerful moments, some amazing spectacles and emotional highs that will have you bawling like a baby one second and pogging at the screen the next. But that doesn't make it immune to criticism. At the same time, Endwalker can have some serious lows, most notable being in the pacing, which can be a bit spotty at times to the point where it breaks any tension or weight of what's going on around us. The beginning can be a bit slow as we get introduced to new people and places, setting up what's to come. But, like a snowball sitting at the top of a hill, once it gets rolling, it really starts to roll, to the point where you won't want to stop until you've reached the end. Additionally, apart from a few sequences, I just didn't feel the urgency or that oppressive and heavy tone and atmosphere one would expect during the final days. They are there, but they feel too localized and too contained to certain parts of the story. And lastly, and I admit this may just be personal taste, but I wish there were more impactful, more personal stakes. Certain aspects lack the build-up or gravitas needed to really hit home for me, to get me to feel more personally invested in the conflict, as odd as that may sound. Contrary to what one might think, Endwalker is not the high-octane go-go-go type of final chapter that the trailer may lead you to believe. It's built more as a mystery, gently leading you by the hand as you delve deeper and deeper to unravel the secrets behind the final days. Of course, there are spikes in action and excitement, but on the whole, Endwalker is more methodical. It's a reflective and personal journey, asking us questions about purpose, happiness, and what gives our lives meaning. You hear this through the music, see this through the plight of the common folk, and experience this through your connection with the characters. It gets pretty deep and philosophical, so if that really isn't your jam, you probably won't vibe or resonate with the story as strongly as others. But even so, it's clear that Endwalker is incredibly well made. It's such a strong theatric, thematic, and emotional conclusion, one can't help being left satisfied, reminiscent, and grateful both to have shared in this experience and to have played a part in telling this epic of a tale. Soak in, you mad lad, you've done it again. How is it that the man don't miss? You know, coming into Endwalker, I was initially surprised at the tone and direction of the music. I thought, okay, we're dealing with the end of the world. Bring out the intense, hard-hitting hype tracks, the beeps and boops that say, against all odds, I will overcome. I will not let this star die, goddammit. But that's not what we got. That's almost the opposite of what we got, which had me thinking, what's going on over here? The tracks were softer, gentler, calm, yet somehow strong and resolute. Once I understood the nature of this expansion and what it was trying to convey, I could feel how it reinforced the themes and messages of the game, embodying those moments of silent reflection, of struggle, of perseverance, of the indomitable human spirit that lives within all of us. When paired with their accompanying scenes, I'm sure the music pushed some of you over the edge to Waterworks City. How do I know? Because as I write this, listening to a mix of Endwalker piano covers, I feel like I could break into an ugly cry session at any moment. People say that music is the language of the soul, and listening to this OST, I believe it. Some of these tracks are so powerful and resonant. They really hit deep and make you feel the moment, feel the emotion, speaking to us in ways that no words or images can fully express. It good. Just so good. So, Square Enix, release the goddamn soundtrack already. Okay, enough with all the sentimental stuff. Let's talk about something fun. The dungeons. They look amazing. Some of the best dungeon design to date. Though, admittedly, I didn't care that much for the first two. Visually. They aren't bad, they just aren't my jam. But everything after that, chef's kiss. The transitions, the designs, the spectacle, what a treat. So much detail and attention have been put into what are basically MSQ set pieces that you can't help but be impressed and utterly enamored with the ride. You'll definitely want to run a trust at least once, just so you can take it all in and look around at your own pace. Some of the skyboxes and visuals are just gorgeous, and I suspect G-posers will have a field day taking pictures in Explorer mode, so look forward to some juicy screenshots. And I gotta say one other thing, the bosses in these dungeons, they ain't messing around. You can definitely feel that the encounter design has upped their game. At times it almost feels like we're breaking into extreme or savage level difficulty with how they stack mechanics and how tight the windows can be for you to react. Like, some of the safe zones? Tiny. So don't be surprised if you wind up dead on the floor. Story only players, you're gonna have to bring it, cause this ain't no walk in the park anymore. I thoroughly enjoy the challenge and can't wait to see where they take us next. Dungeons continue to impress. How do you make that which feels good feel even better? Answer: make it fast. Those of you who are familiar with optimized rotation and openers know that for many jobs, you want to blow your load near the beginning, while everyone is throwing out their raid-wide party buffs. What usually happens after that is you're stuck doing your basic 1-2-3 as you run around resolving boss mechanics, waiting for your abilities to come off cooldown. I haven't leveled all jobs to 90 yet, but from what I gather leveling Reaper, Summoner, Dark Knight, Red Mage, and Dancer, jobs have seen changes to key skills or core mechanics in an effort to lessen those 1-2-3 lulls in combat. This makes for what feels like faster paced, more frenetic encounters, and helps to keep players in that ever-moving, ever-fighting flow state that feels oh so good. Like, imagine the old combat was going from 9 to 2 and slowly building back up to 9 again. This new flow is like 10 to 5 and back. The basic philosophy was pretty much press more buttons, more often, make more happy chemical in brain. Weavers and double weavers, rejoice! It's our time. We'll have to see how this shapes up with upcoming encounters. Whether the rate of boss mechanics increases to match pace, or players are forced off the boss so that they don't kill it as quickly, is still TBD. But if the 6.0 fights are any indication, I can guess that more movement, shorter telegraph timings, and more damage dispersal are likely to appear in our future. Ultimately, I think it's too early to make any final conclusions about combat and encounters, but I'm optimistic that we're headed in the right direction. And with that, we've made it to the end. Looking back, it's been just over a year since I first downloaded the trial and stepped into the world of Eorzea. And I gotta say, what a ride, what a story, what an ending. I never thought I'd get as hooked and invested as I did, and am so glad I gave this game a chance, because this experience is just something else. It hits different. It's just on another level, and I hope everyone gets the chance to enjoy it someday. You won't be disappointed. To the team at Creative Business Unit 3, thank you. I and many others have been forever changed by the product of your hard work, passion, and sacrifice. So please know that we are so grateful to have been a part of this journey with you, and look forward to sharing many more adventures to come. And to all the warriors of light out there, thank you for making this game and community what it is. It wouldn't have been the same without you. So until next time, may we all forever walk in the light.